Hi, it's Alexandra here from the Middlesized Garden YouTube channel and blog, bringing you tips, ideas and inspiration for your garden. And I'm here today at 6 o'clock in the morning at the RHS Hampton Court Flower Show, very excited to see what new ideas, garden styles, designs and everything there is which you'll be using in your garden, I hope. Anyway, let's go and see. Hampton Court Flower Show is gloriously big. Wear sensible shoes, plan properly, take a bottle of water. There really is so much to see, so I'm going to pick out a couple of trends which seem to be growing fast in the garden world at the moment. The first has to be the urban jungle look, either for inside your house or outside in the garden. One of the reasons for coming to a show like this is to have your ideas turned on their heads. A few years ago, Busy Lizzies disappeared from the market because of a virus, so when I heard that B&Q had developed a resistant strain, I wasn't really especially interested. I dismissed them as a municipal bedding plant, but the B&Q bursting Busy Lizzie garden was a really good example of how to make an ordinary plant look wonderful. By majoring on the bright colour and tapping into today's jungle trend, the Busy Lizzie looks quite different when it's partnered with palms, cannas, tree ferns or set into a wall. And I also like the way they've picked up the colour with the pots. Spiky plants are at the heart of the exotic look, so I went looking for them in the floral marquee. As well as Palm Exotics range of agaves and more, there were also wonderful displays from Every Picture Tells a Story and Desert to Jungle. At Desert to Jungle I found Fatsias, and everyone needs a Fatsia these days, and at Every Picture Tells a Story there were wonderful air plants, Tillandsia, Guzmania and more. The Salutation Garden in Kent combines classic English style and the exotic tropical look very well, and their stand had cannas, plectranthus and dahlias. Dahlias fit well either into a traditional garden or into an exotic one, and the National Dahlia Society had a number that would add exotic colour to your garden, such as Totally Tangerine. And Crocosmia are also considered quite traditional, and they self-seed vigorously in my garden, but this one from Hardy's Cottage Plants would add a lovely tropical note to your garden. And somewhat similar and just as beautiful are Watsonia. I really fell for this Watsonia dark pink form from Pemberth Plants. Pines used to remind me of Scotland, but they are amongst our most ancient plants, and their spiky sculptural characteristics would add structure, and once again either to a jungle garden or to a traditional English country garden. These are from Lime Cross Nurseries. And brightly coloured walls are a way of adding colour and exoticism to your garden, and I love these yellow walls in the Santa Rita Living La Vida 120 garden. Another big trend is recycling, and I loved the primary school displays near the entrance. There were old painted children's bicycles used as garden features, really pretty, and a scarecrow competition. Several gardens had vintage or recycled elements, such as the Style and Design Garden, described as an urban orchard garden with contemporary plants and eclectic collector's items, showcasing the balance between old and new. I rather loved the Muck Boots recycled water feature using wheelbarrows and a watering can, and I liked the old boat in the Rias de Galicia garden. I never know whether gardens that are supposed to evoke somewhere else actually influence our own gardens in practice, but why not an old boat in your garden pond? There was lots of corten steel and copper, and I particularly liked the use of screens in the RNIB community garden. It would make your garden more private without reducing the light. And the entertaining garden was also rather lovely in the glow of the sun. It also showcases another trend, which is pavers with gaps rather than continuous paths, in order to drain rainwater better. There was generally quite an emphasis on water, with a number of raised ponds, which I presume must be safer for children, in the Southwest Water Green Garden, the Viking Cruises Nordic Lifestyle Garden, and the Health and Wellbeing Garden. There were a couple of chefs linking to grow your own at the show, and I really loved Raymond Blanc's gardening school for the RHS. I mean, one water butt is never enough, is it? Although I personally would put lids on these with appropriate placed holes, as small creatures can fall in. Amongst the smaller plots, I have to mention the Abbey Physics Garden. The Abbey Physic is our local community garden, and it has a really interesting exhibit with a door in the middle, from the past of vegetable gardening to the future of vegetable gardening. In the past bit there's a brick path and an apple tree, the future bit has the espaliered fruit and a stone path, and so on. It was generally wonderfully full of flowers at Hampton Court this year. I think the decade when gardens were given stone floors and structured box and hornbeam hedging with very few flowers is now thankfully over. Flowers are just so important for pollinators, and I think they make our lives better too. If you enjoy show garden coverage, let me know by hitting like. And if you haven't subscribed to the Middlesized Garden YouTube channel, we upload every Saturday with tips, ideas and inspiration for your garden. Hope to see you again. Thank you.